Hello everyone, it's Drake again, and this will be a video where I just show some of the books I got recently. And there won't really be much structure to this. These books are not really all over the place, but somewhat, but they all appeal to my current interests. So I will start it off with the books I am currently reading. There are a handful of others that I'm inching my way through, but these are the ones that I'm really intent on reading in the next week or two. And after I talk about that, I will just show the books that I have acquired recently. So first, the book I am reading the quickest, and I'm enjoying the most right now, is Selected Works of Cicero. And who knows, I've had this for years, but I was just, the other day thinking, wait a minute. I was looking at my shelf and I thought, I haven't read any Cicero. I've read a little bit of this here, read some letters there, read a biography, like a 10-page, ancient biography kind of thing. But I've never read his actual works. How is that possible? So I'm starting off with this, and then I think based on what I enjoy the most, whether it's the letters or whether it's the speeches or his kind of philosophical discursions, I'll just continue reading that and loving it. I'm loving reading Cicero, so that's one of my current reads. Another one is one that I had dipped into a while ago, but kind of fell out of, but I am just loving. I remember all the scenes in it, just like they happened to me. And that is Lark Rise to Candleford by Flora Thompson. Now, I think I even mentioned that I was reading this, I don't know how long ago, but I don't know, I just, fell off of it, but, how far am I into it? I think, I don't know, maybe, let's see. Yeah, I'm on page 58, so 4 chapters in. But, the singers were rude and untaught and poor beyond modern imagining, but they deserved to be remembered, for they knew the now lost secret of being happy on little. Yeah, she knows how to end a chapter, I will say that, Flora Thompson. And what I think is beautiful about this book too is that she didn't come from the upper classes. She basically was self-educated, and then she wrote these semi-autobiographical memoirs of her childhood, sent them to Oxford University Press, and they were published. The first volume was 1939, and it's just beautiful, beautiful writing. It deserves to be up there with the classics of the English language, certainly. And so anyway, loving that. And then also, to round out my currently reading is the Georgics of Virgil. And this is my bilingual edition. I love reading from this edition. I also think David Ferry is a good translator, so loving this. And yeah, maybe my favorite work of Virgil. Next, I need to read the Aeneid straight through, which I have not done. But yeah, Virgil. All right, so with that being said, that's my currently reading. Now I will just share some books I bought recently. So we'll start with one that I had been looking for years, and I know I keep saying that, but I've been fairly lucky recently. And this one though, I ordered from Kenny's Books, which is like an Irish bookseller, but it's like one of these massive, online retailers that probably just has a massive warehouse and buys huge amounts of ex-library and just regardless of the quality and condition. And this one was strikingly cheap, and I was like, oh, well, good Lord, what am I getting myself into here? And it is the Selected Works of Ramon Llull that was published by Princeton in the mid-'80s. And I mean, the book basically looks pristine, right? Except for the top. Something happened to the top. And so I got like a marginal refund back. I still effectively paid for the whole book, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a way I can clean this off. I don't know if it's mold or if it's mildew or if there's a difference between those two things or what this is, but it's not ideal. I think what I'm going to do is get some Absorine and use that paste, the putty, and then I'm going to take a book brush. Apparently there's one of those. So I was going to use a toothbrush, but I don't know if the nylon will mess with it. So or the plastic. So I'm going to get a nice brush, and then the good thing is this is an impetus for me to actually clean some of my books that I've been meaning to clean for a while, like my set of the Golden Bow needs a nice cleaning. So I'll use this as an excuse. Really, it's not bad condition. I mean, the actual pages themselves are pristine. I just don't want, if this is some kind of mold, I don't want it to spread. So I might have to do the freezer treatment on it as well. But anyway, that's a long digression on an amazing work. Selected Works of Ramon Llull. All right, a book that I got 10 minutes before I started to make this video because I just realized that it was already out. It was, I think, was it one of the books I mentioned in my looking forward to 2025? I don't remember. But regardless, I quickly found out that I was looking forward to it, and it came out and I missed it because I was so busy with work. But now that I'm on summer break, Creating and Transforming the 20th Century. So this is a combination of Vaclav Smil's two books, Creating the 20th Century and then Transforming the 20th Century, which is excellent because separately they were like $76 and 60-something dollars, but now they're combined and I think $45 new. And just from, skimming the beginning, this is just going to be amazing. This is exactly what I need to read. I've been thinking so much about the implications of the Industrial Revolution starting in, the late 1700s in the UK and then continuing to the present. Well, that's another book that I'm listening to. I'm listening to Eric Hobsbawm, his, I guess it's a tetralogy now, right? It starts in 1789. The first volume goes 1789 to 1848. The next one's 1848 to 1875, 1875 to 1914, and then 1914 to 1991, whatever that series is called. But the first one is the dual revolution of the Industrial Revolution and the French Revolution, and I'm quarter of the way into that. That'll be a book that I'll need to get hard copies of because, of course, it's dense and his detail, very, very close attention to detail. But on the first pass, I think just deep listening to it will do. But anyway, this will flesh out some of what I'm starting to think of because of that. So, Vaclav Smil, excellent. All right. The next book here, totally different. I was given a gift card to Barnes & Noble as a thank you for my work as a teacher, I suppose. And one of the works of world literature that I didn't have yet, and that was embarrassing that I didn't have yet, is the Popol Vuh, which this edition is published by Simon & Schuster, their Touchstone imprint, and it is translated by Dennis Tedlock, who is one of the top experts on Mayan in the world today. And as you can see, it's filled with the translation and then images, and I already have a work of Tedlock, the 2,000 Years of Mayan Literature, I think it's called, by University of California Press. and I've read through bits of that. I treat that more like a reference work. But yeah, the Popol Vuh, I mean, as it says on the back, Popol Vuh, the Quiche Mayan Book of Creation, is not only the most important text in the native languages of the Americas, it is also an extraordinary document of the human imagination. And I would say it's a, yeah, I mean, vital work of world literature. And so luckily it's not too pricey. So I was able to pick that up. Very, very pleased with that. All right. Now I'll talk about two books that I got from Alienated Majesty, my favorite bookstore, my favorite new bookstore in the world. This one, I think technically is not out yet, but it's all right. This is The New Story of the Stone by Jian Ren, an early Chinese science fiction novel published by Columbia University Press. Of course, The Story of the Stone, The Dream of the Red Chambers, is the great Chinese novel published in the late 1700s, 1760s. And this is a Qing Dynasty continuation of that. This author, Jian Ren, lived 1866 to 1910, leading figure of the late Qing literary scene. And yeah, satirical sci-fi novel from the late Qing Dynasty. Sign me up. Sign me up. I was counting down the days to pick this up. And in addition, I'm also expecting the Essays of a Recluse. I should be getting those next week that I had Stephen at Alienated Majesty order for me. So another Columbia University Press book that I am thrilled. I will be thrilled with that. I might try to set up a reading group on that book, because that's the real stuff there. So anyway, New Story of the Stone. Don't tell the feds. I don't know if I'm supposed to have that one yet. And another book that just came out that I am, again, just beyond thrilled. And again, thank you for Stephen, Alienated Majesty, for ordering this. This is The Poetry of Yuan Haowen, translated, well, as a matter of fact, introduced, interpreted, and explicated by John Timothy Wickstead. And this is published by the Chinese University of Hong Kong Press. They do the calligrams, the series that NYRB puts out, edited by Elliot Weinberger. It's paired with the Chinese University of Hong Kong Press. But this is a beautiful book. It's a bit pricey. I will say this one's a bit pricey, but what I love about this book is that it not only is bilingual, as you can see, it has the Pinyin romanization, it has a poetic translation in English, and thorough notes. It's inspired by the Primer of Du Fu, or the Primer to Du Fu by David Hawkes, which is one of the great works of, Chinese scholarship in the last, 100 years. David Hawkes is, of course, the translator of The Story of the Stone. And yeah, anyway, I just wish more works of Chinese poetry were translated like this. I mean, I of course I love Burton Watson's translations and David Hinton, but I really love the style of Red Pine and the David Hawkes Du Fu, the Stephen Owen 6-volume Du Fu, and then this Yuan Haowen. So Yuan Haowen was living in the Jin Dynasty, which was the kind of like the northern Song Dynasty right before the Yuan Dynasty comes in, the Mongols. The Mongols are the Yuan Dynasty, effectively. So his dates are 1190 to 1257. He's contemporary with Albertus Magnus. He's contemporary with, I was just thinking about it. Who else? Attar, the Conference of the Birds, the Persian poet. And as John Timothy Wickstead says, arguably, he is the greatest poet after Du Fu in the sense of the historical period he lived through, the strife he had to survive, and then the greatness of his poetry in contrast to what he had to suffer. You know, it's kind of like this like deep, tragic sense to him, but this ability to transcend that through his art. And what I've read of his poetry so far, I am just loving. I am loving. So if you're kind of along with me on my Chinese literature journey, this is a great publication. All right, 2 last books. So these will go relatively quickly, and then how about this? I'll give you a bonus at the end. I'll show you a record I bought recently that, you know, I just can't believe I was able to get. All right, my next book, nice Penguin classic, nice throwback of Pliny the Younger, the letters of Pliny the Younger. So I kind of connect this. The reason why I was thinking, you know what, I don't have Pliny the Younger, was because I was reading Cicero's letters. And they're famously the 2 great letter writers of the Roman Republic and then the Empire, respectively. And yeah, I mean, the younger Pliny, I've been thinking about him because of these decipherments of the scrolls of, are they Pompeii or Herculaneum? These scrolls that are being, you know, AI deciphered. But anyway, regardless, this guy lived through that. You know, his uncle died in it, Pliny the Elder. These Vesuvius eruptions. So yeah, I'm just, you know, periodically I go in and out. I'm fascinated with Rome, fascinated with Greece, fascinated with China, fascinated with the Gupta period in India, fascinated with Persia, inevitably very soon. So yeah, Rome is one of my fascinations. So dip back into Rome for a little while, and this will help me do that. All right, and then my last book I have is a book I got at a local bookstore called Livre Books. Livre Books is the best used bookstore in Austin now. South Congress Books was pretty good. They've closed down. They become an online bookstore again. They were a tad overpriced, and so Livre Books, I go there every once in a while. It's been open for 6 months maybe now. He did backyard book sales for a while now. He has a location on Guadalupe, just north of UT's campus. So I was able to find, actually, I have the other book just above me. So pardon me, give me 1 second here. These are the 2 books that I got from him. Actually, I can show you the bookmark. So Livre Books, where I got this. And check it out. Check it out. Say Drake sent you. You will not get a discount if you say that. But anyway, the 2 books I found, one is thrilled with the Nabokov translation and commentary on Eugene Onigan, the great Russian novel. So just beyond thrilled to find this. And I've read Nabokov pretty in depth. I've read The Real Life of Sebastian Knight. I've read Pnin. I've read Pale Fire. Those are the 3. Never been interested in Lolita. I probably will not read Lolita. I honestly start dry heaving when I read the first page. It's not for me. I think he was trying to write it badly on purpose. But anytime I tell that to someone, they get insulted because they think the first page is the most beautiful writing they've ever read. But I mean, it's just so ostentatious and gaudy, and yeah, it's just, you know, you get the sense of eating too much when you read the first page of that. But anyway, to cover myself for that comment, yeah, I've never read Pushkin though. And the last book I will talk about before I show the record is The Blue Annals, translated by George Rorich. And this is just read the little blurb here, a landmark in the historical literature of Tibet, composed by a well-known scholar, I will not pronounce that correctly, so rather than insult people, there's the name. You see a fourth line down from the top. And this helps me a lot because I've been trying to learn more about Buddhism, just broadly, you know. I'll be reading the Dhammapada pretty soon. I want to get some of the Buddha's discourses, the short discourses, long discourses, numerical discourses, all these kind of things. And Donald Lopez just recently put out a history of Buddhism. I think, is it Yale or Princeton put it out? I can't remember. But anyway, I'm interested in that. And Buddhism is one of the major world traditions I know basically nothing about. I know a little bit about Zen Buddhism, but that's because I've read, you know, some Red Pine and some Chinese poets that deal with it very closely. So beyond that, I have a lot of learning to do. And I think this will certainly help with the Tibetan Buddhist strain of things. All right, and then the last thing I will show, last but certainly not least, is a vinyl record I bought because I went to a show by this artist. Colin Stson is maybe my favorite living artist of all types, of writers, of painters, of musicians, of anything, movie makers, actors. I think I could confidently say he's my favorite living artist, because basically all my favorite artists are dead. But that's not to diminish Colin Stson. He's one of the best to ever do it. But I bought his record, The Love It Took to Leave You. And as you can see there, I was able to shake his hand. I met him after the show down at the Parish in downtown Austin. And it was truly like peak life experience, being down there listening to him play the saxophone live. I was just beyond thrilled, I know I've been saying that a lot, but I guess I've had a good span these last few months. But anyway, The Love It Took to Leave You by Colin Stson, probably my album of the year, the one I've listened to most. Yeah, just amazing stuff. So there you go. My favorite record I own currently. All right. Well, that's all I have to show. I have a handful of cool books coming in next week, so maybe I'll make another one of these next week. Yeah, let me know what you thought. If you have any recommendations to pair with any of these, good recommendations on the history of Buddhism, I'd really appreciate that. Really good translations of Buddhist literature, I would appreciate that. If any of you have looked into Aboriginal Australian literature, especially like traditional, what you maybe call legendary literature or oral poetry, that's one of the places on the earth I am vastly underread in. Yeah, I'm trying to find some stuff there, because I have just about the rest of the world covered, at least in one book, you know, to the depth of one book. But yeah, some videos I'll be making soon. I want to make a video of my thoughts on world literature. I still need to make my video on Attila by Alyosha Cole. That blew me away, and reading it in translation helped me out a lot to understand the Spanish that I could not crack. And so very shortly I'll be making a video, my thoughts on Attila. That'll probably be a long one. I still need to find out how to pronounce Ipsibidimiata. However you say that, Ipsy, I'll say Ipsy. What else? Yeah, handful more scholar spotlights. Those will come out soon. I need to make my video presenting that book list of world literature that mainly Walt and I put together, but I got to put that out soon so that the people can get access to it. So some more videos on Chinese poetry. All sorts of cool stuff coming up. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, death is a gang boss.